accept everything good. But when the Sahaba will go on of Maulana, and then everyone knows that he has plenty of spiritual sickness, and then he must do his best by the Rabita, by the connection with Maulana Shaykh Nazim, connecting his heart with him, so that to try his best to treat his spiritual sickness, so that he will be well treated and well medicated. Otherwise, the one who is always carrying with him this sickness, the spiritual sickness, will be always far away from to be connected with the divine presence of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and awliyaullah, because the veils of these sicknesses, spiritual sickness, make the one to be not well connected with them, and to be far away from them. But Allah saying, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, whatever you are doing is according to your niyyah, to your intention. If your intention is to try to treat yourself and to finish this spiritual sickness, Allah will help you, because Allah saying, anyone trying to help himself, I will help him. I'm not leaving him to himself, but I want to see his good intention, that he wants to be helped by me. He wants to treat himself. He wants to finish all his sicknesses, spiritual sicknesses, or his badness, and for this then I will help him. But the one who is not caring, I don't care also for him. Allah Almighty is with every one of us. And Allah Almighty saying, I am hearing, I am listening. No one is alone. I am with everyone. No two sitting together talking. I am the third. 3, I am the fourth. 4, I am the fifth. I am so close to every one of you. Allah saying in the Holy Quran, much more than your jugular veins which circulating the blood into your body, and the blood circulating going to the heart, to be then well dressed by these jewels of the 4 chambers of the heart, secret of secret, hidden, absolute hidden maqam, where Allah Almighty refreshing the blood by dressing lights and making the malaika to be praising, glorifying, giving them fresh strength, powerful to circulate again the blood in the body. And the body one circulating in the body, then it will be the malaika totally finished, and the body will be getting worse. Quickly the blood will go back to the heart until entering into these 4 chambers. Even they are empty chambers, but to Allah Almighty they are not empty. All the secrets between the one and Allah Almighty, secret of the one and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the secret of the one with all Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq and his successors, and Maulana Shaykh Nazim, the secret of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, and all Imam of 40 ways, all these jewels and amana and iman in these 4 chambers. And for this the blood is obliged to enter to these 4 chambers, to be dressed from every maqam in them by lights, by new life, and the malaika will be then dressed and survived by a godly life again, to praise and glorify Allah Almighty, and the heart from outside pump them into the whole body to circulate into the body. And like this, the Sahaba make the one to see all his spiritual sickness. When the one is totally healed and cured from all spiritual sicknesses, then he will be allowed to step the first step in real Iman. And the first step in the real Iman, the reality of Iman, the first maqam of the reality of Iman, when you are well cured, is to meet the spirituality by the guidance of Maulana Shaykh Nazim of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there you will be witnessing in front of him by the Shahada, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ, and he will tell you, I accept you to be my nation, and I accept you to be a spiritual Sahaba for me. This is the first step in the real Iman. The second step, higher. Third step, higher. There are 7 steps, 7 maqams of Iman. Until you finish the 7 maqams of Iman, then you will be starting to dress by the Ihsan. And the Ihsan, as Rasulullah is saying, when Sayyidina Jibreel was asking him, how about Ihsan, Ya Rasulullah? He told him to worship Allah Almighty as if you are seeing Him. Because if you are no more existing, then because Allah Almighty is seeing you all the time, Allah Almighty is facing us. Allah saying, my face is facing everyone. Everyone of my creation, I am facing Him. And so Allah Almighty facing everyone of His creation. And so the maqam of Ihsan is to be dressed by no more existence for yourself, only the lights of Allah Almighty and lights of Rasulullah and lights of Mawlana Shaykh in you to be existing by the lights of Allah Almighty, and by these lights, by the spiritual body, by this reality which you will be dressed in this maqam of Ihsan, then you will be able to see the face of Allah Almighty. You will be able to be under the lights of the holy lights shining from the holy face of the essence of Allah Almighty. And this is for everyone. Allah making this hadith of Rasulullah not for special ones, but for all the nation, to make their best to come out from the imitated Islam, from the imitated Iman to the reality of Islam, to the reality of Iman, so that they will be dressed by Ihsan. And to dress by Ihsan, you need a guidance to guide you in these ways of Allah Almighty, so that to finish your humanity, to finish your egos, to finish all your spiritual sickness, and then you will be a very pure one, purified, clear, and your heart, then it will be like a station for Allah Almighty, station for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, station for all awliya, for Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Sayyidina Ali Radwanullah alayhim, for all grand shaykhs, for Mawlana Shaykh Nazir. And for this Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said, the one who will try his best to purify and clean himself and to be in sincerity is Allah Almighty for 40 days, for 40 morning, which means 40 days, to be really only nothing except as making, even you are in between people, but making yourself by yourself in a seclusion, cleaning yourself to be only with Allah Almighty, to be sincere with Allah Almighty. This sincerity, Rasulullah say, the one who is sincere with Allah Almighty for 40 days, seeing nothing to enter to his heart except Allah Almighty, and he is washed by Allah Almighty, and Allah Almighty present with him, and Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and Awliyaullah, and no one else enter to his heart, then Allah after 40 days will look at this heart of this one who was in sincerity with him for 40 days, and he will dress him, Allah will dress to his heart a special light from Allah Almighty. He will be given a light from Allah Almighty, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, and by this light, then he can see by the eyes of Allah Almighty. He can see by the light of Allah Almighty. Because Rasulullah saying, من أخلص لله 40 يوم تفجرت ينابع الحكم من قلبه وجرت على لسانه اتقي فراسة المؤمن فإنه ينظر بنور الله عز وجل. Be aware from a real mu'min, from a real believer whom dressed by the reality of Iman, by the reality of Ihsan, because he see and he look at everyone around him by the lights of Allah Almighty, by the eyes of Allah Almighty, and he knows anything going on in the hearts of the one who around him, or wherever he is looking, he will see the reality of everything by the eyes of Allah Almighty and eyes of Allah Almighty. And the one who will be in sincerity for 40 days with Allah Almighty, Allah Almighty make all kinds of wisdoms and reality like fountains coming from his heart and to come over his tongue. Never he will talk except by wisdom, by revelation, by what Allah Almighty dressing to his heart from divine knowledge from Allah Almighty, or divine knowledge from reality and spirituality of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or from the reality and spirituality of Maulana Shaykh Nazim, his Shaykh. Like this, the one who will be in sincerity with Allah Almighty for 40 days, keeping only Allah Almighty to enter to his heart. And for this, in our Naqshbandi way, in the Sufi way, Maulana making for everyone who is when the order coming from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he is well ready and chosen one, he will order him for 40 days of seclusion, to have a seclusion with Allah Almighty, with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to finish all his humanity, to be treated and medicated. By Maulana will make an operation for him in these 40 days to clean his heart from all spiritual sickness, and then after the 40 days he will come up out of the seclusion, and then fountains of divine knowledge will be opened on his heart, and then he will be able to see by the eyes of Allah Almighty. He will be able to look by the lights of Allah Almighty to see the reality of everything around him. And for this, always keep adab, good behavior, good manner when you are sitting with ulama, because how much you know the ulama, especially the real ulama, the sincere ulama, not nowadays ulama. Nowadays ulama, Rasulullah saying about them, all these whom we are seeing in all the Islamic world, they are, Rasulullah, he say to the Sahaba, there is a hadith of Rasulullah, the most thing I am so scared and worried from the Jews of my nation. And then the Sahaba, they say, how ya Rasulullah, is a Muhammadi nation? How there is Jews in Muhammadi nation? Say, yeah. At the end of the time, the ulama of that time, they are the Jews of my nation, because they have well educated and studied by all Holy Quran explanation, ayat, but never doing by it. Only it is decorating themselves by it, teaching it, but it is coming like poison on their tongue to the people, and everyone listening to them, he is poison, because they are trying their best to kill Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They do their best to make the people to go far away from Rasulullah, to tell people no more Rasulullah existing, he died, finished, passed away. Now only you have to look, only ask Allah Almighty directly. No need for Rasulullah, no need for this, no need for awliya, no need for maqams, no need for Ahlul Bayt, no need for this, all bid'ah, all kufr, all shirk. And then never anything of the sunnah of Rasulullah they are practicing. No siwak, no turban, no jubbah, no rings in their hand, no praying sunnah, the sunan before all the sunans of the daytime or nighttime. They don't care for all this. Only they are caring for giving lectures and giving knowledge, decoration knowledge, like a plastic fruits, not like a real fruits, and it will make the one only to get sick from their tongues, from their teaching, like poison, because everyone who is not doing by what he is advising people to do, then it will be poisoning the heart of the one around him. And you will see nowadays how much the Ummah, the nation of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in all the Islamic world, in all the world, how much they are running away, how much they are far away from loving of Rasulullah, from loving of Ahlul Bayt, from loving of Awliya. They have no belief in Awliya, no faith in Awliya. They don't know anything about Sunnah of Rasulullah. And this makes the one as if he is killing Rasulullah. Every day they are killing Rasulullah. Instead to survive Rasulullah, they are killing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. While the one who is surviving the Sunnah of Rasulullah, Rasulullah, he said at that time, they are the one whom they are surviving me in between my ummah. They will be the good example of my nation, making me to be survived. That look at their faces, how they are well dressed by the Sunnah of Rasulullah, how they are acting, how they are surviving the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they will be good example. And by this they are surviving my Sunnah, surviving me. Everyone is killing me. Even the ulama at that time killing Rasulullah. These common ones who follow the awliyaullah, they are not common anymore, but they are the chosen special one from Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, because they are surviving Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To survive Rasulullah is by surviving his Sunnah. And Allah Almighty saying in the Holy Quran, still the one of you approaching to me by the Sunnah, by the recommended, by Nawafil, I will love him. See how much Allah Almighty is respecting his beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he is encouraging everyone to survive the Sunnah of Rasulullah, to approach to Allah Almighty by the Sunnah of Rasulullah, by the Nawafil, by the recommended. And the recommended, not Allah Almighty put it. Allah Almighty put only the obligatories. The recommended and the Sunnah and Nawafil, all was put by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And for this Allah Almighty saying, how much the one at that time approaching to me by the Sunnah of my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by the Nawafil, by the recommended, I will love him. He didn't say by the obligatory, I love him, but he said, because the obligatory, if you don't do, then you will be punished by Jahannam. Finished. It is order of Allah Almighty. But the recommended, you will not be punished, but you will not get the love of Allah Almighty. And so the one who following the recommended, the Nawafil, the Sunnah of Rasulullah, and surviving it, surviving the beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah will love him, saying, I will love him. And if I love him, I will dress him from my attributes. I will dress him from my eyes to his eyes, from my ears to his ears, from my tongue to his tongue, from my hand to his hand. وَلَئِنْ سَأَلَنِ لَأَعْطِيَنَّهُ وَلَئِنْ اسْتَعَاذَنِ لَأَعِيذَنَّهُ. I will make him a godly one, a divinely one. If he say to something be, it will be. Only by what? By Sunnah of Rasulullah. See how much Allah Almighty appreciating and valuing the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where everyone nowadays killing the Sunnah of Rasulullah. And Rasulullah saying, 1 raka'at with siwak equal to 70 raka'at without a siwak. And everyone surviving my Sunnah, all the nation will kill my Sunnah. For every Sunnah Allah reward him the good tidings of 100 shaheed. Sahaba used to do their best to get the good tidings of 1 shaheed. And not all of them getting it, not all of them shaheed. While in this time, everyone surviving the Sunnah of Rasulullah, one of the Sunnah, for every Sunnah, he is rewarded by Allah Almighty for a good tidings of 100 shaheed. And Maulana say, the good tidings of a shaheed, what is the good tidings of a shaheed? The good tidings of a shaheed that Allah will give him, Yawm al-Qiyamah, power and give him shafa'ah. 4,000 in front of him to make shafa'ah for 4,000 whom they are sentenced to Jahannam. By Allah Almighty, He can make shafa'ah for them from his in front, 4,000 from his back, 4,000 from his right hand, 4,000 from his left hand, which means 16,000 for every shaheed to make shafa'ah for them, to take them, to save them from Jahannam, from hell to paradises, to Jannah. This is one shaheed. How about 100 shaheed? How about for every sunnah 100 shaheed you are getting? And for this, Maulana, if you look at Maulana Shaykh Nazim, from our childhood till nowadays, you will see him the good example, of as if you are saying Rasulullah Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. By all its means, by his action, by his acting, by his power, by his talking, by his dressing, by his surviving sunnah of Rasulullah, by his standing up, sitting, by all whatever he doing, you will see as if you are with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If anyone who study the life biography of Rasulullah, he would see directly 100% represented by Maulana Shaykh Nazim Qaddas. And for this, Maulana Shaykh Nazim all his life encouraging everyone in this Naqshbandi way, the closest way to reach to Allah Almighty and to be cured from all your spiritual sickness is to survive the sunnah of Rasulullah on yourself. Then Allah Almighty will love you. Allah doesn't care for whatever all you're worshipping, whatever you are doing. If it is survive the sunnah of Rasulullah with love of Rasulullah, love of Allah Almighty, Allah then will love you and will make an attraction, a jazba, and bring you to His divine presence. While the one who will worship or do whatever he wants without surviving the sunnah of Rasulullah, without love of Rasulullah and Allah Almighty, Allah will not look at all his worshipping. Shaitan was worshipping 2,000 years Allah Almighty. Even though he disobeyed one time the order of Allah Almighty once in his life, Allah Almighty cursed him and all his worshipping and kicked him out of the Jannah of paradise and the blessing. Sayyidina Adam, the father of all of us, the physical body father, because our real father, the spiritual and physical father of us, the real one is seed of Prophet Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whom we are all created from his life, Allah creating us from his life. But for Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, once he approached to eat from the forbidden trees, what happened to him? Allah Almighty take everything from him, turning him to be totally darkened by zulma, by darkness, and he kicked him out of paradises and make him to come to this earth and to stay here and to suffer and make all his children to suffer today of judgment because he once disobeyed Allah Almighty. How about us children of Adam alayhi salam, whom we are in every minute disobeying Allah Almighty? In every minute we are obeying our egos, we are obeying our shaitan, we are obeying everything which is against Allah Almighty and disobeying Allah Almighty. And the one who is obeying, like us, Allah Almighty, once or several times, but the majority of the time we are obeying our egos and we are obeying our shaitan, what they are whispering in our chest, we are following them. Instead to be all the time keeping our hearts and our chest, no one to enter, neither ego or shaitan, only for Allah Almighty, then shaitan cannot play with you. Then you will be a sincere servant for Allah Almighty. Only Allah Almighty will be in your heart, because Allah Almighty saying, neither heavens or earths or Kaaba or Bayt al-Ma'mur or a throne. I choose them to be house for me. I choose only the heart of children of Adam alayhi salam to be my house. I am settling myself, my life, my throne in the heart of children of Adam alayhi salam. If you want to find me, you must immigrate from your physical state, from your humanity, to your spiritual state, into your heart. There you will find me. Don't search for me in heavens, or in earths, or in skies, or in universes. Even I am the all in all. I am the one in everyone. But you will find me in your hearts. Anyone wants me, I am so close to him. I am so near to him. I am settling myself in his heart. If he can immigrate to his heart through his central disposition or the central points of his heart, he can reach to be in the divine presence of Allah Almighty. Search for me in your hearts. Search for Rasulullah in your hearts. Search for Awliyaullah in your heart. Search for Mawlana Shaykh Nazim in your heart. And for this, the Naqshbandi way is dressed basically on the rabita, on the connection. Why? So that you can concentrate and focus and making all your time meditating how to migrate from your humanity and physical state to your spiritual state, to enter into your heart so that you can find there Awliyaullah, Mawlana Shaykh Nazim, Sahibul Zaman. Then they will guide you to find Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah will guide you in your heart to find Allah Almighty, who is settling His greatest name, His rights, His throne, Himself, His secret in your heart, in the fifth chamber, which is called the Absolute Hidden, where it is in it the lives of Allah Almighty and the throne of Allah Almighty and the divine presence of Allah Almighty. May Allah make us to read that stations and to be sincere with Mawlana Shaykh Nazim, sincerity, sincere with all awliya, Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Ali, sincere with Sahibul Zaman. That's us by sincerity to Rasulullah, sincere with Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that's us to be sincere with Allah Almighty, to be sincere servant. That's us by servanthood and sincerity and love to Allah Almighty and to all of that. بحرمة الحبيب بحرمة الفاتحة. السلام عليكم.